2020 Tantra, Crown Tantra, info in the description. So pride is lusting an idea or image of yourself, your concept of who you are, your idea. And trying to hold on to illusion is pride, trying to hold on to the ego. Again, the body is dense ego, essentially. So trying is dying, trying is wasteful. It produces parasites. They convert or they process your energy for you. They're not separate from you. They're just reverse versions of you or inverted versions of you. Cancerous cells, it's still you, it's just cancerous. So alignment with the Creator is utilizing every available breath to the fullest. There is no waste, lack, or profit, etc. So alignment is effortless, yet is the most challenging challenge. Creation is alignment. Sorry for the doodling. I wrote this pretty fast. So first person death is ego death. Third person death is actual death. When others die or transition, it is actually you dying from their first person perspective. Again, we are just projections from each other's base realities into when you project into other people's realities, whether it be dreams, a lot of the time you're coming to their dream. People say, you came into my dream. I'm like, you probably came to mine. Depending on the way people shine and attract. So, but regardless, you're experiencing yourself through these other projections, and they're experiencing themselves through you as a projection from their base reality. So anyway, when you're holding on to the sorrow, that's stemming from holding on to the comforts that come with the others or the person that passed on, their presence being in a form that makes your idea of yourself feel supported. So if your mom dies and you're used to a certain type of support from her, it's not that the support is gone, it's just not in the form that you're comfortable with, or your avatar is not yet comfortable with. So that's you holding on to your own ego because you want to be the person you thought you were before she died. And that's what creates the whole suffering, really. So the ultimate first person death is release of limitation. So your total potential is met. When your potential is met, you meet your maker. When you meet your maker, you meet your potential. This is alignment. It's seamless. Returning to your angelic potential. Walking or living in the light of the Lord forever, or the Father, the Lord of Lords, the Nebuchadnezzar. So again, ejaculation or ejection, it creates an expansion of experience or of the universe. All events stem from ejaculation. Your dad, my dad, the ultimate padre. It's all coming from, we all reflect the micro and the macro. It's the Big Bang. Every event ever that you've ever had is stemming from your father ejaculating and from his father ejaculating. And then it just continues to go back to the ultimate padre, the ultimate pattern maker, however you want to look at it. So the Big Bang is a coronal mass ejection. Again, your corona on the tree of life will be your halo. So when you have a coronal mass ejection, that's a birth of a new sun or a new image of God, a new physical manifestation of God. This is the micro and macro process of the universal expansion and creation. So you got the North Pole coronal mass ejection, and then you got HAARP up there in Alaska. They're scrambling the light, the radiation that's coming off the North Pole, the nourishing radiation. Radiation just means radiant. It's vibration. Not all radiation is it's not all you get me, it's not all offensive radiation. Some radiation is nourishing, whether it be the sun. It's all about the way you do things, dosage, and depending on where your body situation is. So HAARP is scrambling the messages in the light. So people are getting parts of the knowledge of self. Because they can't stop anything, but they can change the flow of things. Try to adulterate the pattern. That's all they can do. So that's what HAARP is really doing. It's basically sending those messages through a shredder, and then we as alchemists put it together. We write books and all these types of things. Whatever we do, we make music, we write the lyrics. That's just putting all the shreds into a cohesive expression. So again, December 21st, we got the Great Conjunction and the coronal mass ejection, and that's why you have your coronavirus situation, and that's why you have the mass, and there's just all prepping. That was just a pump fake for this real situation. So you're going to have your elections tied up in America and all that. It's going to be a bunch of people getting exhausted over the illusion, not paying attention to their breath. And we're going to reach this point, and you're going to have a big bang. You have a coronal mass ejection. The whole world's going to blame the other side. China's going to say it was America. America's going to say it's China. Russia's going to say it was Korea, North Korea, or whoever. They're all going to be, it's going to be a bunch of pointing fingers, because nobody's going to say it was God. Ultimately, everything is that. But nobody's going to say that. You know what I mean? And It's just because they're dealing with other people's perception, so they have to communicate from a place of your perception, ultimately. So that's where we're at. That's what's going to happen. They're going to call it a bio release, December 21st. It was a bio attack. COVID-20. Again, COVID-19 was the end of 2019. So you're dealing with COVID-20 this year. That was all the trial run, And yeah, we call Bill Gates a bad guy. All these people, we can call these people bad guys. And I understand it. I understand the concerns and everything like that. But at the same time, you got to realize people's state of consciousness and how presence and suffering usually don't go hand in hand. The presence will purge the suffering to the surface to get it out so that the presence can remain. But these people that haven't been detoxing, that have had their head in the sand, that are not in touch with their own breath, those people will be suffering immensely when that radiation is being inhaled. So at some level, relative to their perception of reality, Bill Gates or the people, Moderna, those people that are creating those vaccines, that'll be their savior just because the pain will stop. Because people are so concerned with symptoms. They're not into causality. So you'll have people saying Bill Gates, or whoever, Trump or whoever gives them the vaccine, once this all rolls out, it's like Aldous Huxley said, like, we want people to celebrate their slavery, and it'll always be somebody that will, because there's the different degrees of consciousness. It's a light spectrum. And we can't really be concerned with it because ultimately if they have no presence, are they really there anyway? Were they ever really there? Are they holograms or ops or whatever you want to call it? So you can't really look back. It's like Sodom and Gomorrah. You got to keep going, and you got to know that you are the universe and that you can repopulate and do whatever you have to do, and there's no real death. Again, your first person death, you're going to walk, you're going to have total potential. You do whatever you want to do. To the rest of the world, they're going to say this person died. But to you from first person, you don't experience death. It's not something that you can experience, first person death. You only experience third person death. Trauma can make you forget. You can have a bunch of amnesia between births and all that, vaccines and circumcision causing amnesia, but you never die. You never experience death. You can experience concepts of death or from the third person view. But first person death, from you, it's seamless. You going to heaven physically and all that stuff, that's what your consciousness is now tuning to. It's happening in the ways that you can communicate to yourself, whether it be physically, literally walking to the North Pole, or whatever it is, flying, whatever it is, your consciousness is going to experience that, because you as consciousness can't die. Consciousness doesn't begin or end, so there's no death. So it's that simple, even though it sounds like it's not. I'm just being my best to communicate this in broken language. So listen to the silence. It's better than listening to me. 2020 Tantra, Crown Tantra, info in the description.